Shout out to T.
Yo, he be playing, bro. I swear. Shout out to Duty. What's going on? Shout out to the chat. What's up, man? Shout out to TP, the perspective. What's up, bro? Oh, shit. About to get into this news real quick. You know how we go. Shout out to the chat. What's going on? So what we have here is a failure to communicate. The membership link. You gotta press the little. Oh, how do I drop? I don't know how to drop the membership link. Lord of mercy. Let me see if I can figure it out, y'all. 1 second. Mm, 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 mm. Let me see. I don't know how to drop the link. 1 second, Holly Favor. Give me a second. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Sheesh. Yeah, it's not giving me a link to drop per se. Let me see. I don't know. I gotta find out. I'm gonna figure it out, highly favored. I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna send it to you. Maybe if you go to my page, it'll have the option for you to do it, because when you go to the page, there's a little join button on the page itself, I would assume. But shout out to the chat. We got some news to get into today. We have some things I wanted to talk about. I think he's asleep. When he gets up, if he comes in the then I'll be able to find out. For some reason, I can't see the chat in the vertical. So anybody that's in the vertical, shout out to y'all. I appreciate you pulling up. Yeah, cause I'm trying to figure it out. I'm a check it out. I'm gonna find a way whenever I'm playing the video so you guys can this is what I'm able to do it. You know what I mean? But the first thing that I'm gonna get into is, so I'm not sure if anybody's aware, right? About a year ago, a young man was arrested for making weapons in his house. He wasn't selling them. He's just a tinkerer. He likes to mess with things, you know what I mean? And he's really interested with guns. And New York has the strictest gun policies in United States of America. Well, the city, not upstate. So New York is separated into two parts. Well, three, if you think about it, right? So you have You have Long Island, which is Nassau and Suffolk County, right? That's next to New York City, but it's not necessarily New York City, right? And then you have upstate New York, which is the other counties. You know, you got what counties is up there? I don't know, whatever counties is upstate, Oneida, Onondaga, all of those different counties up there, you know what I mean? And then you got New York City, the 5 boroughs. Within those 5 boroughs, even Long Island doesn't apply the same rules as New York City does. It's a little different, you know, because it's densely populated. They have stricter gun laws so that everybody isn't just carrying weapons around willy-nilly. Right? That's understandable. But the laws are set up in a way where they violate the Second Amendment. So there's a whole lot of Supreme Court stuff going on with the laws in New York, because for all of these years the laws have been the way that they are, and they've never been a problem with it. The Supreme Court was just like, that's just, you know what I mean? They didn't look at the fact that these laws violated the Second Amendment. And we're going to look at a little bit of it right now. Shout out to the chat.
Now to the story of a quiet, studious man from Brooklyn who's doing hard time upstate. He openly admits to assembling ghost guns at his home, which is illegal, but he says his constitutional rights are being violated. Tonight, our conversation from behind prison walls, beginning with the moment...
Now, he said, which is illegal. He's not lying. It is illegal. You know what I'm saying? Tesh knows the different counties in New York. Shout out to Tesh Aziz. Now it is illegal based on the law, but the law doesn't agree with the Constitution, and they're gonna get into that.
Ghost guns at his home, which is illegal, but he says his constitutional rights are being violated. Tonight, our conversation from behind prison walls, beginning with the moment his life was upended. 6 o'clock in the morning, you're lying in bed.
Yeah.
What happens?
I hear a bang, and I see underneath the crack in my door, I see like weapon lights flickering back. I said, ooh.
Hands up. Get out of here right now.
So I said, hello, I'm Dex.
I ain't gonna lie. If I see weapon lights and my door bust open, my response will not be ooh. He said my response was ooh. I wouldn't be ooh, because I've been beat by the police before in the streets in front of everybody. Well, not beat. She kicked me in my head, but I tried to run. You know what I mean? So to them, making them work hard is like asking for an ass whooping. You feel me? Making them run and shit like that. Police officers don't come to work to run, even though that's part of the job. So when you make them run, they on you. You know what I'm saying?
Hands up. Get out of here right now.
So I said, hello, I'm Dexter Taylor.
My name is Dexter Taylor. Yo, we know your name. Come on.
Why are you looking for me? Because I still thought they had the wrong house. And then they said, yeah, we're here for you.
Look at the turnout, though.
Police department, search warrant.
April 6, 2022, an elite NYPD unit
It's
forces...
crazy. You seen that they broke the building door, and you know what's crazy is that they don't have to pay for any of these things after they do these things to your home. If you ever seen, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Afro Man. That was a real funny story. Shout out to Iceberg in the building. That was a real funny story. So there was reports that I was about to say Iceberg. There was reports that Afro Man was had hostages and drugs in his home, and the police busted up his crib and told him that they didn't have to repair it, because technically they don't. Even if they find no evidence technically they don't have to repair anything because it happened in the line of duty. They're not playing, Tesha Z's. Wait, there's more. There's a lot of stuff going on out here. I'm going to start breaking these things down on a daily basis until 11, like 10, 11 o'clock, because I got to get some rest. You know, overnight is my thing. So let's get back into this. But like I was saying, they broke the building door. He pried that open. Boom. That's on the building owner. You know, like things like this get you evicted from your place. Because now, even if they found nothing, these damages have to be covered by someone. And now the landlord is going to come to you to cover these damages. Because you're the reason why these damages occurred in the first place.
Its way into Dexter Taylor's home in Bushwick, Brooklyn.
Shout out to Bushwick.
Keep a gun on. Keep a gun on that thing.
Why are you looking for him?
Maybe it's the rifles you got laying around everywhere.
We're in a search warrant at this location.
Yes, sir. I know it's probably real, but can I see it?
It was an hours-long search of Taylor's pack.
He said it's probably real because I see it. That's a fact, Iceberg. You have to litigate it. You have to go to court, prove that. All right, so it's not necessarily, it's an easy fight to win, because once you show that they found nothing, a lot of the times I've seen the police department cut checks for damages to people's things, right? After they've already had to pay a lawyer for it. You know, and then sometimes they don't include the lawyer's fees in the result of the litigation. So you would have to still pay the lawyer while they pay for your things. Some people will just pay for it themselves instead of going to pay a lawyer to get the money to fix the stuff, because it'll be almost the same price, you know? Depends on how much things they tear up and the lawyer's cost, you know? Sometimes it's less. It's worth paying a lawyer, you know? Like if you have a car, a real expensive car, like I watch this guy. He comes from Canada. He brings his cars from Canada to America and drives them. And he often runs into trouble because the cops don't necessarily know the law as good. They only know some of the laws. They know the laws. That's definitely highway robbery out here. You know, they got tolls all over New York City now. They put one in the middle of Manhattan. It's just craziness, right? That's something else I'm going to get into another day on how the police are cracking down on, it's a couple of things I want to get into. Shout out to New York City, man. It's a crazy city, but it's a lot of news here. So whenever this guy presents his Canadian license, a lot of the officers in California tell him he's not allowed to drive. So there was a couple of times where they have taken his car and damaged his expensive Lamborghinis and McLarens and these things that he brings out here. And this doesn't even happen in New York. He doesn't come to New York often. He's usually in California. But he comes from like Ontario, Canada or something, right? Most Hated Bronze. Shout out to Most Hated Bronze. And they've damaged his car and he's paid and he's gotten the money back from the department to fix his vehicle. You know what I mean? So when it's a vehicle like that or it's property like that, then, you know, you have to go the extra mile, because whatever you're paying the lawyer is most likely going to be way less than whatever it costs to fix a Lamborghini. So sometimes it helps. But in this guy's situation, he can't even do that because, as you will see, he end up going to jail because the judge told him don't bring the Second Amendment stuff in our courtroom.
Yes, sir. I know it's probably real, but can I see it?
It was an hours-long search of Taylor's packed home, found loaded with ghost guns.
They see his rifles, they are dressed to kill.
After a week-long trial earlier this year, Taylor, who's 53, was convicted of second-degree criminal possession of a weapon and other charges. He was sentenced to 10 years for making ghost guns. I met him at Coxsackie Correctional Facility, a maximum security prison in upstate New York.
Now, I've been to the Cat. The Cat is a terrible place, right? The Cat is a terrible place, but it's not far from New York. It's not as far from New York City as like upstate or what is that shit? Wendy, Collins. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not that far. You know what I mean? Those Katsaki isn't that bad. I mean, as far as distance goes, you know what I'm saying? But they sent him to the cat for 10 years. So everything over in New York State, everything over 7 years gets you put in a maximum security facility, right? Now, after he does 3 years, he'll be eligible to be his classification will drop down so that he would end up in a medium correctional facility. And that it all depends on his behavior and programming as well. So if he's doing his programs and he's not getting any tickets to go to the box or whatever, or disciplinary, if he doesn't get any disciplinary, or not much anyway, like tier 1s and tier 2s, tier 3s will keep him in the max. You know, if you catch a tier 3 ticket, it'll keep you in the maximum correctional facility. So that's where he's at, with killers, grapers, and all these different types of people who they put him with. This man that just likes to make things. You know, he's not out there selling these weapons. He's not out here committing any crimes. He's just based on the law, he did commit a crime, but he's making these guns for a reason. Like, he's building these things for a reason. He's going to get into that in this interview.
Coxsackie Correctional Facility, a maximum security prison in upstate New York. In your home are 13 weapons, yes?
Yeah.
13 guns.
That sounds right.
What kind of guns do we have here?
All of them were either pistols or AR style, right? I made a handful of Glock style pistols and I want to say 8 AR style rifles.
These weapons are in the house?
Yes, sir.
They're in a closet? I saw pictures of them. They looked like my suits in the closet.
Yeah,
they're stored.
Right,
they're hanging like on hangers.
That's right, yeah.
You have the right to remain silent. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Taylor is a self-described nerd and tinkerer. He graduated from Stuyvesant High School, studied biomedical engineering for a time at Johns Hopkins University, and later taught himself how to write code. He says he's been fascinated with guns since he was a child. His goal before the arrest, to develop better weapons systems for the police and military.
You see, now as honorable as his mission is, right? As honorable as what he's trying to do is, it is still against the law. New York state law. You feel what I'm saying? So his thing, his fight in court was that I broke the law, but the law is unconstitutional. And the judge says, don't bring this Second Amendment stuff in the courtroom. That right there is great grounds for appeal, because no law in America can be created in contradiction to the Constitution. The Constitution is the baseline, and then every law is built on top of that. So it's legal in states where the gun laws are freed up more. You know what I'm saying? So, all right, my friend lives in California, and he makes them. He has a 3D printer. So this is the thing, right? There's a process to it. And there's a way that you go about it, right, TP? I'll pull that up after this and show you, right? So when you order these things from these companies, this is how they know he had these things, right? When you order these things from these companies, they keep a record of who they send them to. And ATF comes, hey, we need to see the record of all of the people that you sold these things to make sure that they're good people to sell them to, right? So now they know he's ordered all of these things. They're like, oh, he's in New York City. We got to go. We're going to send this to the NYPD, and NYPD is going to go get him, because we know in New York City he can't make these. But Virginia, even upstate New York, you could build these things upstate New York. If he was to move to fucking Syracuse, Ithaca, Albany, anywhere upstate, Niagara Falls, Rochester, Buffalo, anywhere up there, he would have been able to do this legally. You know what I mean? As long as he followed the right procedure. You know what I'm saying? So now, the thing about ghost guns is that they don't have serial numbers on them. The receivers don't have serial numbers. So now, this is the thing, right? So now, when you make a ghost, you can't. So unless you have machining equipment, you can't make the barrel and the uppers, right? The part that loads the ammunition and fires it, people usually buy that. What they're making is the lower, the handle part. And then you still need a parts kit to equip the lower so that, well, I'm a fanatic, right? I'm a gun fanatic, so I know these things, right? Watch a lot of gun videos, demo. I watch a lot of people, right? Hickok 45. I watch all these different guys, right? So I understand how the process works. So with the parts kit now, the parts kit that goes inside of the lower, the handle part, it has the ejector, the trigger, those pieces that work in conjunction, they work together with the receiver, which is the top part that holds the shell, right? So people buy the upper part from manufacturers, like there's a manufacturer that everyone uses. It's they actually make weapons also. What the hell is the name of it? Palmetto Armory. You know what I mean? Palmetto Armory sells a lot of pieces for ghosts. They actually sell ghosts. They make ghosts and sell them on the market. They make Glock clones. You know what I'm saying? So it's PAS, the Palmetto Armory Stinger, I think it's called, or something like that. They got one called the PAS or something like that, right? So now, when he's ordering these things, that's how they're able to catch him. So now, people can make them as long as they register them after they're made. So now that there's a record of it, because once you make it, there's no record of it. And that's the problem that they have with the ghosts, is that there's no, so people are carrying them that aren't registered. They're not in the system. And police don't like that because it's hard to pinpoint who did whatever. You know what I'm saying? Yes, that's what their thing was, but he never sold any of them. Every part that he ordered for every weapon that he built is in the house. That's the thing that's crazy about this, is he never sold a weapon, Tesh, that they can prove. They cannot prove that he sold a firearm because he has proof that he didn't.
I have something to offer this industry. Guys like the guys who broke down the door of my apartment, right, spend a lot of time tuning their weapons. They might be able to use a system like I came up with. I wanted to work with these guys.
How do you think you got on their radar?
I know how I got on their radar. ATF has been driving search warrants around the country by going up to parts manufacturers and saying, run those lists for me.
Taylor had been under surveillance,
Exactly what I
flagged
just
using
said.
his credit card.
Now, I've watched this to make sure it was something that I would be willing to cover. And I don't remember, I forgot that part where he explained that, but that's exactly what I said. That's exactly right, Tesh Aziz. They're making an example out of him. But what's going to happen in the long run, if the justice system works the way it's supposed to, is that he will end up making an example out of New York. He will end up ushering in change in here, in the state of New York, in the city of New York, as a matter of fact. Because like I said, there's another video I'm going to play after this where this is in the Supreme Court. This whole, not his case, but the whole New York gun situation is in Supreme Court. Because they have allowed people to carry in New York City because it was against the law the way they were denying it. So they've allowed it, but then they put all these different restrictions on it. So imagine this. Hold on one second. Give me a second, guys. I gotta drop the link. It's an open panel. I almost forgot. Let me share. It's an open panel. So we can talk about this with whoever wants to talk about it, you know. I done forgot what I was about to say.
Those lists for me.
Taylor. had been under surveillance, flagged using his credit card and home address, ordering parts to build weapons. These guns and parts were unlicensed, unregistered, and illegal in New York. Overall, the NYPD says more than 1,000 illegal ghost guns have been recovered since 2022.
That's light. 1,000 since 22. That's not bad. So I remember what I was about to say. So now they freed up the gun law a little bit, right? So imagine you work at night. You take the train, you close the store up, you close the store about 10 o'clock, right? So now you went and did the process and you got the right to carry a firearm because you know that you work late, you close the store, sometimes you might leave with money, okay? So now you have these restrictions where you can't carry a weapon on public transportation. You can't carry a weapon in any tourist areas, which like 40% of New York City is tourist areas. You heard? Like anything could be designated a tourist area, right? So now you have to take a cab or own a car in New York City, where the rent for a 1-bedroom is like $2,000, 2-bedroom, $25, 3-bedroom, 3 bands. You know what I'm saying? So you paying all of this rent. Now you got to either take cabs as long as you're carrying or get a car, because you can't take the bus or the train with it legally. And that's illegal. Those restrictions are illegal. You know what I'm saying? So you went and went through the whole process, filled out all the paperwork, got the background check and everything. They've given you this license to carry now, and you still can't carry really.
More than 1,000 illegal ghost guns have been recovered since 2022. Did you have a license to carry a gun in New York City?
I still do have a license. It's called the Second Amendment.
Were your weapons...
Still do have a license. It's called the Second Amendment.
I think gunshots is justified right there, because he's not lying. That's your license. That's my license. That's everyone's license to carry. Some states implemented having an actual license. Concealed carry permit, this permit, that permit. I watched this guy called The Armed Fisherman, right? So now there's a law in Florida that allows you to open carry a weapon if you're going fishing or hunting. For Long Island, you can have a gun for the house, only to be in the house. So I guess Long Island operates under the same exact laws as New York City. Because upstate, you don't have to have it only in the house. You can move around with your weapon and everything. But all that's going to change soon, because the Constitution is the Constitution and it says what it says. So they're going to fight it out. You know what I'm saying? And cases like this set the precedent. You know what I mean? Because once case law has been determined, that's what they're going to have to use going forward. So if he beats this on appeal, that will be the new case law. Whatever the judges say, and when that appeal comes through, that will be the new case law. The most recent. I don't know if you guys understand how that works. I don't know if you guys watch Sis when he does his court thing. They cite cases from back in the days, because those cases set the precedent for what's supposed to be happening in the court. You know, so though a judge generally doesn't go against another judge unless that judge was wrong, like egregiously wrong. It has to be, you know, blatant in your face. They have to be wrong, you know. So most of the time they'll refer to old case law. You know, John versus the state of Illinois, you know what I mean? Or the state of Illinois versus John, you know what I mean? So they'd be like, in that case, this happened. So in this case, which is similar, this should happen. And that's how it works generally.
Were your weapons registered?
No such registration is required.
Okay.
So in other words, I know what you're getting at, but
Okay.
you see what I'm getting at.
Okay.
Is that the law of the land supersedes the law of the state.
Do your guns have serial numbers?
No.
So to the people who say, come on, man, you know the law of New York State, you also know the Constitution, you know both of them, but the law is the law, and you're paying the consequences.
The states get to make their own laws, but none of those laws can contravene the Constitution.
I feel like I memorized this. Pardon me. I really feel like I memorized this. Because he's definitely hitting all the talking points that I had made a little while ago.
Especially the Bill of Rights.
Didn't fire him. She never took him out of his house. There's nothing more central to the Second Amendment than the individual right to bear arms in his own home.
Vinu Varghese is Taylor's attorney.
That is the ultimate legal question that's going to go to federal court. We knew we were going to lose the state court. We're going to lose at the mid-level appellate court. We're going to lose that in Albany, in New York State. But then we're going to come right back to Brooklyn in federal court there.
Constitutional law professor Gloria J. Brown Marshall.
The Second Amendment allows for the right to bear arms, but that is not an unlimited, unrestricted right. The right to bear arms, like every right within the Constitution, has to be balanced out with public safety, balanced out with the rights of others.
Taylor has a 16-year-old daughter. He says missing her is one of the hardest parts about being locked up, and says she is proud of his fight. We watched the body cam video. It ended up very calm.
Yeah.
You know, undoing your shoelaces, put your glasses on your face.
Everyone was calm and respectful. And I played it calmly and respectfully as well.
People that have been convicted of manslaughter, people that have been convicted of molesting children are going to get out earlier than Dexter Taylor, who hasn't harmed anyone.
What do you want ultimately?
I hope that we can compel New York State to abide by the law. Again, the law of the land is clear. I'd like to have my conviction reversed and do what I originally planned, which was to buy some land in New Hampshire somewhere and make a gun lab and go start my second career in the firearms industry.
Most strikingly, Dexter Taylor refused to take a plea deal for 3.5 years. Instead, he ended up with the 10-year maximum. He says he plans to fight it, as you heard, in the federal courts, all based on the Second Amendment, and we will keep an eye on this one.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, clearly a smart guy, right? Stuyvesant and taught himself code. Yeah.
A
Clearly.
true
Like
believer.
Complicated issue.
A true believer,
Very complicated issue.
Yeah, like he heard, he said he was going to develop weapons for the police and for the military, and he's going to fight this thing all the way, maybe to the Supreme Court. We'll see.
Resolute in his.
He got to fight it to the Supreme Court because that's the only place that's going to acknowledge the Second Amendment and really stand by his constitutional rights. Nowhere else is going to stand by his constitutional rights. You know what I'm saying? Now, this is what's going on. This video right here is from, what's the date on this, John? This is from 3 weeks ago. So this is happening right now as we speak. That guy was sentenced about a month ago. So here we are about to look at what's going on in the Supreme Court now. I'm definitely going to touch on base on the fresh and fit stuff and all that stuff also at some point. I don't understand why I can't see the chat in the vertical or the horizontal. That's wicked. All right. It's cool. It said something went wrong. I refreshed it. It's still not working. Whatever. Shout out to the vertical. Could y'all double tap the screen, please, if you don't mind? Shout out to Star. What's up, Star? Oh, shit. Hold on. Let me switch over real fast. Haha, I can't even do it. That's crazy. How you doing, Star? All right. Here goes the second one. This is the Supreme Court going to war.
Now, in this video, we're going to be discussing a district court case that came out a few days ago out of New York. The case is called Christian v. James, and it was, by the plaintiffs, an attack on New York's sensitive locations doctrine, places where you are prohibited from bearing arms.
That's what I was just telling you guys about. Shout out to Thaddeus. What's going on, Fats? How you doing, bro? So I was just telling you guys about the sensitive location thing where they are restricting you from carrying in certain places. And that's not legal, because if they restored our right to carry, making it so that we can't carry in places where like carry all the time is not really legal, because maybe, all right, bars, that's everywhere. You know what I mean? Because alcohol is the main source of income in those places. You can't possess a firearm in those places. So you have that. You have bars, courthouses, police precincts, and stuff like that. I understand, because if you walk into a precinct with a gun, they're going to feel some type of way. You know what I mean? You walk into a court with a gun, it could cause alarm. You don't want to cause alarm. But other than that, shout out to Star for becoming a member.
Glowing Star, STAR, Glowing Star, has become a member.
Shout out to Star. I really appreciate that. So that's illegal. Putting those type of restrictions on people's right to carry is not legal.
Even if you have a CCW.
Starting right now, it is a crime to bring a gun to schools, restaurants, hospitals, and entertainment venues like Times Square.
We don't need more guns on our streets. We definitely do not.
Governor Hochul launching a statewide ad campaign to make sure New Yorkers and those who visit are aware that while the Supreme Court made New York a new right to carry state, there are a slew of places where carrying a weapon will put you behind bars.
We don't need guns on our streets. We don't need people carrying guns in our subways. We don't need people carrying guns in our schools. We don't need people carrying guns in our places of worship.
If you live in New York City and you are a young man without a criminal record, I advocate for you to go get your license, because there's like an agenda where they make a valid attempt to try to prevent you from being able to arm yourself early. You know what I'm saying? By giving you a record early. A comedian once said, if you want to change the gun laws, everybody should get a gun. Everybody go get you one. This way, the gun laws will change. Because if everybody got them, then what they going to do?
Now
that's a fact, Star. You need to know. So this is the thing, right? If you are going to get a gun in New York City, make sure you go sit in them classes and pay attention, because there's a lot of rules that you have to follow, or that legal weapon that you are carrying will become a felony, and it will be illegal. And then you'll end up in jail like the last guy that we just talked about. Shout out to Fat Stevie.
We don't need people carrying guns in our places of worship.
Now, this case is important. It's important clearly for the people of New York, but it also is quite important for a number of other states. You see, most states have accepted Bruin. They understand that a firearms law needs to be consistent with our nation's history, text, and regulatory traditions as existed in 1791. But there are several states, New York being one of them, my own state of California being another classic example, and of course Hawaii, that have effectively rejected Bruin. They don't like the idea of Bruin. They are appalled, to be quite frank with you, that they no longer have the discretion in determining whether or not someone should have the privilege, as they had recently seen it, to be able to bear arms through the use of a concealed weapons permit. Their attempt to get around Bruin was to create this myriad of sensitive locations.
So, for those that don't know, Bruin is case law. There's Bruin versus somebody, some state versus Bruin. So that's a case that allowed us to carry. That's the case law that allows us to carry, and they're fighting it. Those 3 states he mentioned, New York, California, and Hawaii, they're fighting Bruin by implementing these unjust reasons for unjust stipulations, I would say, on where you can and cannot carry.
California, we had a court case called May v. Bonta, which I talked about in a previous video. This case in Christian, this was effectively a challenge to New York's attempt to restrict.
Hold on one second. Shout out to Miss Eve and Just Jay in the Vertical and Star. Lester the YouTube God. Miss Eve, go to my page and click on the one with the H, the live with the H. That's how you get to the other live. Shout out to Courtney Peach.
Restrict what people can do with their firearms. So a little bit of, to kind of give you an understanding, I guess, of what this particular case was about. So after Bruin, the New York legislature put forth a law that effectively said, look, we sort of acknowledge the fact that we are sort of obligated to give a law-abiding citizen a concealed weapons permit, but we're going to make it virtually impossible for them to be able to exercise their right to keep and bear arms by essentially declaring all of New York a sensitive location. Now, when I say all of New York, that's a little bit of hyperbole, but the fact of the matter was, it would be incredibly difficult for someone to be able to exercise their rights.
By saying all of New York, it's a lie, but it's not an outright lie. It's like a slight exaggeration. Slight. Very slight.
Specifically as it relates to going into a location that is private property that's been opened up for public use. Now, that sounds a little convoluted, but probably a better way of describing that would be any retail store. This is private property that's been opened up by the owner for public use. Well, effectively, New York said, an individual that controls private property for public use can make a large determination as to how they want their invitees coming onto their property. We are going to go ahead and presume that this private property owner does not want people coming onto their property bearing arms. So we're going to create what's been euphemistically referred to as the vampire rule, essentially stating that if a private property owner would like someone to come onto their property with a firearm, they are going to have to publicly disclose that with some form of signage, purposefully inviting these people on. Now, if that signage is not present, then it will be presumed that they do not want people coming onto their property. Now, in most jurisdictions, if you intentionally go onto someone else's property without permission, that is a misdemeanor. It's called criminal trespass. In New York, for this limited scope, they were going to make it a felony. Now, the upside of being a felony, I suppose, is that once you are designed as being a felon, you lose your firearm rights for the rest of your life. So they could kind of get things with, essentially 2 birds with 1 stone. Not only could they go ahead and prosecute somebody for exercising their right to keep and bear arms, which they find to be an affront to the state of New York, but now they could go ahead and strip them of the ability to either keep or bear arms by making them a felon in totality. Well, there was a lawsuit that was filed, and there was been many machinations going up and down the chain, But ultimately speaking, a few days ago, the judge in the U.S. District Court said this whole thing is utter garbage. And I use that in somewhat of a couch term. The opinion that the judge wrote is about 47 pages long, and he goes through a fairly detailed analysis.
New case law. That's what that is. 47 brand new pages of case law for New York State.
Of what the types of laws restricting the carriage of firearms were back in 1791, and essentially makes the decision that there was nothing even remotely connected to something like the vampire rule that existed back then. And he has now enjoined that law from being enforced. This is interesting because in the state that I live, in California, we had a decision called May v. Bonta, which has been somewhat of a split decision. So the Ninth Circuit actually encompasses a variety of different Western states, Hawaii being one of them. Well, Hawaii, they created a response to Bruin, as well as California creating a response to Bruin. In the Hawaii decision,
I don't think that should be legal. But these states do what they want. They push as hard as they can against the federal government because that's where their money come from. But they try to stay within the boundaries, so to speak.
They effectively said that you could carry a firearm in someone's business if there is no sign, as long as the business owner verbally invites you in. California was far more draconian. In California, they said even if the business owner invited you in without there being a sign, you're still in violation of the law. Well, California, the Ninth Circuit said that the California restriction on the vampire rule was far too restrictive. But the Hawaii one, since it did allow for that verbal invitation, that is acceptable. Well, just the court's own...
This is the question I have, right? Do I have to tell you I have a gun before you invite me in? And what store owner is standing at the door inviting people in the store? I would assume that once the store is open, pardon me, I would assume that once the store is open, that I'm invited in, especially if I'm doing business with you guys. Like if I wanted to come and buy a lighter from out of a convenience store, do I have to wait until the owner's there for him to invite me in so I could go in with my weapon and buy my lighter and continue on my way? Like what about gas stations? You know, a lot of things happen to people at gas stations. What if I don't have a card and I only have cash and I have to get out my car to go into the establishment to pay for my gas? Do I have to wait for the gas station owner to invite me in order to go in and get my gas? It's a funny thing that they're doing. You know, you have to pay attention. Because if you don't, you know, I mean, you could just leave it in the car and go in. But some people don't know. They already have it on them, so they're making their move however they're making their move, you know?
That is acceptable.
Right, Thaddeus. The open sign is an invite. You know, that's what I'm thinking.
Well, just the court's own sort of philosophical reasoning here in the Ninth Circuit is problematic. Now, there is a concept that's been bandied about recently called uncivil obedience. You've all heard the term before of civil disobedience. This is where people will acknowledge a law and then effectively decide that the law is immoral and they violate the law. We saw this certainly prior to the 1968 Civil Rights Act. Rosa Parks would be a great example of someone who engaged in civil disobedience when she took the seat at the front of the bus, which was illegal under that state law. Well, this new form of uncivil obedience is what we are now seeing manifesting in these various courts. Many anti-gun jurists, both at the trial level as well as at the appellate level, are very, very upset with Bruin, with this whole history, text, and firearms regulatory tradition approach. And they're upset not because they have to engage in a brand new type of analysis. They're upset because they know what that analysis will ultimately yield. All right, the vast majority of modern gun control laws are in fact unconstitutional.
Shout out to the Cash App. No message, so I'm not going to speak on who it was, but I appreciate that.
Under a Bruin analysis. Now, they weren't terribly upset when we were using in the past the intermediate level of review of is there a substantial state interest and does the law provide a reasonable fit, right? Because they knew that with that intermediate level of review that had been in place before Bruin, they would be able to hold these gun control laws and keep them on the books. Now that they are forced to use this history, text, and firearms regulatory tradition approach, well, they know they're kind of screwed. As a result, they have decided, at least it would appear that they have decided, that they are going to effectively shove this down our throats. They're going to effectively use this analysis to come up with what could best be described as absurd results. This will, in their mind, cause people to throw up their arms and say, we need to have a new Supreme Court case that will affirmatively reject the Bruin standard and come up with something that's far more concise that will, in all candor, allow them to continue to uphold gun control regulations. That is one of the reasons why we see the Hawaii law being upheld, but the California law being overturned. Now, fortunately, we do have a number of pro-gun jurists, or I shouldn't even say pro-gun, pro-constitutional jurists. For all I know, they may very well be anti-gun themselves, but they are upholding the Constitution. They are following the dictates of their superior court, their superior tribunal, in this case, the Supreme Court, setting out an articulatable test that we use in order to determine whether or not a gun control statute is unconstitutional.
So he keeps mentioning Bruin, and I'm not sure. Shout out to Thad Tias for the super chat. It's going to read in a second. So he keeps mentioning Bruin, and for those that are not aware, right, this is Bruin right here. This is the Supreme Court, the 2022 Supreme Court case of the New York Rifle Association, New York State Rifle and Pistol Association, Inc. versus Bruin, expanded the right to bear arms under the Second Amendment and limited the ability of states to restrict the public carry of firearms for self-defense. So that's what the case. This is just a breakdown of the case. You feel me? If you guys want, you could look it up, and you'll find the whole entire case and all of the pages, which is probably a lot of pages to read. This is just a breakdown of it. The case involved a challenge to New York's concealed carry law, which required applicants to show proper cause for the license, which is not legal because the Second Amendment gave me the right to bear arms without proper cause, without any of this extra stuff that the states put us through. It gives me the right to carry. So I don't understand why I'm not able to carry. How come it didn't read it? Anyway, it's probably giving trouble. Thaddeus donated and said, keep doing your thing, bro. Salute. I got to go check the settings on this joint.
This is going to have what could best be described as a churning effect because we've got these different jurists doing intellectual gymnastics to try to show how this gun control statute is in fact okay, and then other jurists actually following the test and saying this gun control statute, which is substantively similar to the gun control statute that was just decided to be constitutional in one jurisdiction, is unconstitutional in the next, that this is going to cause this sort of desire, Lotus, for a better way of describing it, to create a new standardized test. I do not believe that is ultimately going to be successful.
Now that's the thing that I'm saying, right, that Tias, is that the law-abiding citizens are trying to follow the law and carry legally. Criminals are going to carry regardless. No matter what law you have, criminals are going to carry regardless. And it's like, when you create laws like this, what do you say to the law-abiding citizen? The one that wants to protect himself from the person that's not abiding by the law, that's going to carry regardless. Shout out to that, Tias. That's a good statement. It's like New York, California, and Hawaii don't care about its citizens, about their safety. So they only want for me to call the cops after it's happened to me. They don't want me to take care of myself while it's happening to me. They want me to wait until afterwards and then call you guys for help.
We've seen the state attack Bruin on the question as to whether or not the Second Amendment has been abrogated in the first place by claiming that the weapons in question are not in common use. We've seen the state articulate the idea that the Second Amendment doesn't cover certain individuals, that it does. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. We've seen the state essentially do their best to try and cut this off at the road before the analysis begins. And then once the analysis does begin, where we start looking at history, text, and tradition, they start throwing everything against the wall, hoping that the jurist that's reviewing this is amenable to their arguments and is willing to uphold these unconstitutional provisions. One of my clients had said to me a little while back, it appears as though for every victory that we get, and this New York case, it's a victory, but for every victory that we get, it's like we lose two in the process. And I said to him, look, you need to understand, there is a deep-seated emotional attachment to an anti-gun regime in many, many jurisdictions. There are legislators that are incredibly impassioned about the idea of ensuring that their constituents are not able to exercise their civil rights. And
Star, it's not that they forgot about the gun laws. I mean, it's not that they forgot about the ghost guns, is that they don't mind the criminals having them because it allows the police to work, right? So you got to think about it. Why would we need cops if everybody followed the law? We wouldn't need them. They wouldn't be necessary, right? But because we have those people that don't follow the law, that occupation is lucrative. You get a lot of overtime. You get a lot of time to work. You get a lot of, So because of this, they're not going to be too hard on the gun laws per se. They're not. They're going to make it so that the legal people can't carry, so that the people that aren't supposed to be carrying are going to carry, and they're eventually going to get caught and go to jail.
There's a variety of reasons associated with this. On one basis, it's because these legislators are getting money from anti-gun organizations.
They are.
And others, they're legitimate, true believers, regardless.
And on the opposite spectrum, you have these lawmakers that are receiving money from the NRA, right? So it goes both ways. You have anti-gun people paying and supporting the people that are going to put the right laws in place to stop guns and gun violence. And then you have the people that are paying other legislative individuals to make laws to allow more guns, because that's what the NRA is about. You know what I'm saying? It's about the Second Amendment. It's about everybody carrying, everybody having their right to carry,
Of that fact, these legislators are...
Did you just ask that question, Thaddeus? Of course the laws create revenues. That's why they put tolls and they have... So, all right, think about it like this, right? Parking, tolls, and all. Police are in charge of that. Those are laws. Those are not necessarily criminal laws, but getting tickets and all of these different... Like when you go to court, they have court costs. Like there's a lot of different things that go into once you start catching cases and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a lot of different things, a lot of different money that you're gonna have to spend. Lawyers make money off of crime, cops. Yeah, I seen a post one day and it says that a doctor hopes you get sick, a cop hopes you commit crime. So does a lawyer. And it said a plumber hopes your pipes bust. Electricians hope that you have electrical problems because they can't work if you don't. Shout out to Arabia Barbosa, distracting one in the building. But the only person that hopes that you do well is a thief, so they could come steal your stuff. And that killed me. I almost fell on the floor laughing when I seen that. Because it's like, yo, it made a lot of sense. Like, the person that wants to rob you don't want to rob you if you don't have anything. So they really want you to do well. But all the other people that don't necessarily, that want to make money off of you, they need something to happen to you for them to make this money. That's what these jobs predicate. They are based on the fact that if one of these things happen, if whatever happens to you, I can fix it, I get to work. You catch a case, lawyers get paid. Your pipes bust, plumbers get paid. You know, electrical problems, electricians get paid. All of these people get paid off of your problems. Everything that happens to you pays them.
Doing whatever they can to try to...
You might want everybody healthy, distracted one, but does everybody in the medical field want everybody to be healthy? Is the question. Because then you wouldn't have any clients.
Push back against Bruin. This will inevitably result in stronger guidance from the Supreme Court. That will, in fact, happen. Guys, I'm going to pause this video for just a second. USCCA, which sponsors these videos, they're doing a giveaway right now. It is very cool, and you're exactly what the type of offer behind the constitutional justice, the jurisdictional...
I went too far. I went too far trying to skip his commercial. My fault.
For every gun control, victory that we get, regardless of the jurisdiction, we celebrate that. We have an individual justice that is, in fact, willing to stand behind the Constitution. And for every loss that we suffer, we need to point that out. We need to see exactly what the type of reasoning is that the state is proffering so that we can continue to attack that. In any event, guys, if you'd like to email me, you can certainly do so at steven@artemishq.com. As always, train constantly, train consistently, train repetitively, and train with purpose. Above all else, stay safe.
Make sure you train, guys. Make sure you train. Practice makes permanent is what they say. You have to practice, man. You got to get out there, get in the range, and do the things you need to do so you could be safe and secure, accurate, when you're dealing with these dangerous weapons out here in these streets. You know what I'm saying? So...
Now, in this video, we're going to be discussing a district court case.
So that's all of the gun stuff that I'm finna cover for now. I just wanted to answer the... Good morning, distracting one. Yeah, that's what it's gonna be from now on, man. I just this is what I'm doing. This is where we at. Shout out to everybody in the Vertical Live. So now we're going to go here. All right, hold on. So I just want to respond to Thaddeus, right? So I don't like the fact that our drugs and our food is monitored by the same administration. I don't like the FDA thing. it's against what I believe. I don't believe the people that are in charge of the drugs should be in charge of the food. That's sketchy to me. Because our food isn't like the food abroad, where their drug administration and their food administration aren't the same. There are a lot of chemicals in our food that are allowed by the FDA. The FDA allows certain things. The FDA is the ones that allowed these stores and stuff to sell clone meat. Put a red tag on it. Put a red stick on it that says clone. We've probably been eating it for longer than they have allowed it to be sold. I'm just saying. I don't like the whole FDA thing. There should be a drug administration separate from the food administration. Because when you put them together, if there's anyone in the FDA that has any stake in any pharma business, that's where their allegiance is going to be, where they're making their money at. They're going to side with whatever pharma wants to do. And that's not good for the people. Hey, Mrs. Baker, how you doing? That's not good for the people, you know? So when you sit back and you look at what's happening, you got these people drugging us up and making us sick. I don't even eat out like that. I don't even want a salad from out. Like, I'll buy my own damn lettuce. Like, it's not as good. It's not any better that I'm buying it, because the same stuff that's in the grocery store killing me is the same stuff that they use in the restaurants that's killing me. Shout out to Distracted One. I appreciate that. No, I don't know why that is, Arabia. I don't know. I think, right? From what I've been seeing, I believe that the Food and Drug Administration and it being there is so that, how should I say this? Shout out to Letitia. Happy Tuesday, Rich, mods in chat, working and listening. Shout out to Letitia, Third Eye POV. I gotta check my notification thing, because clearly I'm not getting all my notifications for some reason. Let me see something. Properties. I guess it's okay. Shout out to Letitia for being a member for 5 months. Oh, you talking about the vaccines, right? Yeah, vaccines are scary, man. And then they want to exclude you from a whole lot of shit when you don't get vaccinated. You know what I mean? Like, you got to bring your vaccines to the school and all that. Like, I don't even trust the schools. You know, I watch a lot of pro-black stuff, and they say things like, why would you let your enemy teach your children? And that's not like the United States of America is my enemy, but the school system is very, very much lacking. All right, so let's move on to the next thing, because there's a lot of stuff happening. So, Big Meech was freed. That happened. They're saying he told. That's crazy. You know what I'm saying? Yes, it should. The FDA should be in jail as a whole. Hold on, let me put that on the screen so people can see it. People need to see that. The FDA should be in jail. They should all be jailed. I believe so. Because I can't see how them allowing them drugs in our food is legal. Good morning, Arabia. Listen, sometimes you got to fight the good fight, man. That's the good fight, Dad. That is definitely the good fight. You're not, you're fighting for a righteous cause. It's not like, you just trying to make her life difficult. You know what I'm saying? You're trying to make her life better because it's a whole lot of, let me tell you something. I understand the purpose of a vaccine, right? But I don't want you putting no weakened version of a virus in my body. I don't want no viruses in my body, honestly speaking. What's not true? Let's get clarity. I'm all down for it. All right, so I might not know where they source their food, but if they get their food in America, it's probably been tampered with. Like listen, only the restaurants that are really expensive are getting their food from far and abroad, are ordering quality ingredients. McDonald's is not giving you quality ingredients. Subway, Burger King, Rallies. You're not getting quality ingredients from those places. No matter how much the prices have went up. No matter if they got a dollar menu, if the dollar menu turned into the $3 menu, whatever. This is just what it is. Exactly, Thad Tias. The fast food ones I'm talking about. All right, let's see. We also have the mayor. Let's see what's going on with the mayor of New York. You said just a fear tactic? Well, I'm afraid. I'm definitely afraid. Shit. I don't want no parts of that. I don't want no parts of genetically altered. I ain't gonna lie. Happy Thursday. Shout out to Miss Baker, Just Jay, Miss Eve, and the vertical. Double tap the screen for me if you can. We looking good over here. Right. Yeah, Hot Pockets are terrible. I've had them when I was younger, but I don't like the Hot Pocket thing. Hamburger Helper, I've never had Hamburger Helper. Even though I love the skit from Dave Chappelle about the Hamburger Helper, I've never had it. Listen, you're going to live to be a lot older as long as you keep being careful about what you eat. Because they're killing us with this food, man. This food is terrible. This food is terrible. You cook like your mom? Yeah. See, that's I'm accustomed to so there's a place in Brooklyn on Utica Avenue where they have chickens in there, live chickens. I grew up on going and getting those live chickens. They'll kill it right there, swoop off the head, swoop off the feathers, chop it down like how you want to cut it for stew. They'll chop it down for stew for you if you just want to cut in 2 halves. They'll take all the insides out, put them in a little bag, put it in there for you if you want the insides or whatever, you know what I mean? That's how I grew up. I grew up eating not the bagged chicken that's inside the grocery store. I would go and get this fresh chopped up chicken and my mom would cook it the same day. It just tastes different. It don't even taste the same. Like even if my mom made the same chicken, the same thing, I think she's here already. If not, I hope she is. Shout out to Uncle L for trying to help Miss Eve out on the vertical. Even if she cooks the same thing and uses that plastic wrapped chicken, it don't taste the same as that chopped up, freshly killed chicken. It does not taste the same. Like, I've brought freshly killed chicken home. My wife like, put it on, like, now you got to cook this today. I'm like, you got to cook this today. It's not going to taste the same if you put it in the fridge and wait till tomorrow. Season it up, throw some lime, you know what I mean? Wash it down, skin that joint if you have to. You feel me? Pause. And put that joint in the pot. Get the fricassee in that joint. Because at the end of the day, like I said, it tastes so much better when it's fresh. Everything tastes better when it's fresh, you know? Over canned, frozen and canned. I don't like canned food. First of all, I don't trust preservatives, man. What is the preservative? What are you feeding me? Shout out to having a grill in your truck so you could cook your own food. Like, what is the preservative that you putting on there to make that shit last in a can for 5 years? The same beans that go bad in the cupboard. What liquid are you? What is that liquid around my beans that are making them last forever? That shit's scary, bro. Yes, we live in a great time, right? Frozen is better than canned. But I don't like canned, and I don't like frozen. I definitely don't like canned. No oxygen, sir. So no oxygen makes that liquid not make it not go bad. Because if you put water in a container with no air and that water's just sitting there, it's going to start to stink over time. Shout out to Foxy Brown. Good morning. It got preservatives in there, Courtney Peach. You going to tell me ain't no preservatives in that can with the lack of oxygen? You tell me they just took the oxygen out and that's the preservative? Nah, they got chemicals on them beans. I don't trust them beans. I can't trust them beans. Not go bad as quickly, but what makes a can of peaches last for 10 years? What makes a can of pears last for 5 years, bro? Oxygen? You can learn to can at home. I would rather that. Yes, I've heard of canning. So let me tell y'all a story, right? So I'm going to start getting a lot more personal here, you know what I mean? Because ain't nobody going to watch this. So when I was younger, I had went away. It don't last that long. So I had went away, right? So this is crazy. People do this. So there's something called a can sealer, right? That's how you can. It connects to the table. You put the can under it, and it seals the lid onto the top, right? So when I was away, like I would ask for stuff, and like this is how people get cell phones and stuff. You feel me? Because you're allowed to get packages. Matter of fact, I think I should keep this to myself. Matter of fact, I could tell y'all because I don't live like that no more anyway. So we get packages, right, up to 35 pounds. So you get some cans in there. You get a nice size can. You feel me? Like that could hold a phone and a charger. You wrap the phone and the charger up in the plastic or a glove or whatever, something waterproof, 2 or 3 times. Make sure it don't get wet. And you stick it down in there and you weigh it. And it has to weigh whatever the can weighed before. You know, so you pour a little bit of the stuff out, and then you reseal the can, and you send it up the way. So I've had that done for me, and I've done it myself. So I've operated a can sealer, not even the electric one. I'm talking about one you have to crank yourself, and it reseals the can for you. You know what I'm saying? And that's just like it was $600 back then, or $800 back then. You know, but so I know about the can sealing thing, right? And I know about the lack of oxygen in the can, right? But It's preservatives in there, man. It's preservatives. It could extend the life, but not for 5 years. I go get a can in there right now, and it says 5 years from the date I bought it. Like 5 years. So this is how I know about the can sealing thing. I was just giving y'all a little, trying to explain to y'all how I was introduced to the canning. So let's go see if there's anything new going on with the mayor. I done dropped the plug. Hey, you remember the man from Washington, D.C.? I think his name Marion Barry. All right, so ain't nothing new going on with the mayor. That's why I haven't put out a new video, because all of this news is from a month ago. If you guys seen my other videos, it's a corruption case. He's been taking money from overseas, which is illegal. Use jars. Yeah, I think I would be more, you know what I mean? I would rather use the jars. Oh, my video popped up. That's crazy. Yeah, there's no new news on the mayor. He's been charged. He's been indicted. Right now we're waiting. Court is a process, so you have to wait, and, we're going to see what happens. But they have proof. Glass over aluminum. I would rather the glass over the aluminum. So for those that don't know, the mayor of New York has been taking money from overseas, and that's illegal. You can't take campaign contributions from outside the country. Shout out to Just Jay. Yeah, I'm in the algorithm. You can't take contributions for your campaign from outside the country, because that's against the rules. I did a little history on him. He used to be a cop and stuff like that. It's crazy. He used to be a cop, man. Like, why are you breaking the law? And maybe he didn't know. And hot seal the tops. I'll try that, Foxy Brown. Yes, he was very corrupt. And so was Giuliani. Giuliani was terrible. So I was having a conversation with a friend of mine, and we was talking about the RICO, right? And a lot of people aren't aware that the whole RICO thing was Giuliani's doing. Giuliani he looked at the law and realized that you could apply this to gangsters, because the law existed, but it was more of a business law, not necessarily a criminal, but it turned businesses into criminal entities, and that's what the RICO is. That's what Young Thug was charged with, right? His legal operation was also a criminal entity, and RICO allows for the government to come in and take your stuff because you've been using it illegally. You know what I'm saying? Hold on a second. Let me do this. I can get rid of that one now. Pop that out real quick. Yeah, we live, y'all. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to Thaddeus for hitting the like in the vertical. I don't remember him. I've read about him. I was really young when he was in office, but I've read about Ed Koch. They got a bridge named after this crooked guy. Hey, New York City's a crazy place, man. And I've lived here almost all my life. I mean, I've been to other states and stuff, but And I've lived in other states, but I've lived here most of my life. Yes, that's what it was made for racketeering. And Giuliani was at the forefront of that. He was a prosecutor. He was a state's district attorney, a federal district attorney, before he became a mayor. And that's what, you know what I mean, brought him to New York with that all that tough on crime shit. Hey, yo, let me tell you something. There was a time in New York City when they had the Rockefeller laws. And if you got caught with drugs, they would put life on the back of whatever sentence you got. So if you got caught with a little bit of drugs and they gave you like 1 year, they could put life on the back. So you would have 1 year to life. And you'd be on parole for long stretches of periods of time after doing your 1 year. And it was deemed to be illegal, and they eventually removed it. And so a lot of people got paid. There was a guy that had a Wonder Life, and he did. So technically, you can't get no more than 5. They wouldn't give you no more than 5 years post-release in New York. Post-release supervision is parole, right? They wouldn't give you no more than 5 years post-release. So even if he was to do 1 and 5 with 5 years post-release, which is generally, it's not a sentence I've seen. I've seen 1 and 1, 1 and 3. I've never seen a person get 1 year in state corrections and 5 years parole. But I've seen 1 and 2, right? But let's say they gave him 5. He was on parole for 8 years. For 8 years. 8 years after he got the 1 year sentence and did his time, they changed the law. And whenever they changed the law, he went and found the lawyer as soon as possible. Got his money and got right up out of New York. Never wanted to come back. He won't even, he has family buried out here. You know what he does? He has a ceremony for them in the state he lives in. He will not come back here to go to their grave or anything. Because he felt he was done wrong. He took their money, went and bought a house with it, and moved on with his life. You know? So, you know, it's a lot of crazy things that happen out here. Disney owns Times Square. I got to look into that. They might. Let me tell you something. Another country owns all the tolls almost all the tolls in America. That's how we're paying our debt. That's why they keep popping up with these new tolls and shit everywhere. The tolls is what we use to pay our debt. There's a state where they sold the parking meters to another state, to a corporation. I think it was BlackRock. And the company increased the parking rate so they could make their money back quicker, and they've already made their money back. And they still have like 5 more years on the contract. It might be Philly. One of these states, man, they sold off their tolls. Like this is a regular occurrence, man, because our country owes, you know. So yeah, listen, I'm all over YouTube watching all these different videos, learning all these different things. We're in an information age, man. All the information you need is at the tip of your fingers if you really want to know the information. Like, there's never been a time before now where you could argue with someone and pull your phone out and get the right information instantly. I remember being younger, wishing I had a way to prove stupid people wrong. And now it's right here with me all the time. Like, people don't realize, like, my first thing is to go into my phone to get information. Like, yo, where's the nearest such and such? Google Maps. Google, you know what I mean? Where's the closest near me? Or whatever, you know what I mean? It's all in our pocket. There's no reason why people shouldn't have or be able to get information. It's all here for us. All you have to do is want to know the information. Once you want to know the information, you'll be able to get the information easily. Well, not in New York. The liquor stores aren't owned by the state, but they practically are, man, because the licensing process is ridiculous out here. You know, so they practically own the liquor store because you have to follow the regulations. It's a lot of regulations. Hey, I wouldn't be shocked. Let me explain something to you, right? I was watching a story. about housing, right? And one of the reasons why buying houses is so expensive is because corporations are buying them and renting them instead of the regular person being able to go in and buy this house. A company had bought this house, repaired it, and now they're renting it out. BlackRock owns a lot of homes, a lot of malls, a lot of shopping centers. Like, you'd be surprised. A lot of corporations are buying these things up because it makes sense. Like the regular man. Like, I'm a regular man, and my objective is to buy a home that is a rental property so that it can pay for itself. And while it's paying for itself, I could use that as collateral to get more properties, you know? And, you know, just do the same thing. Allow them to pay for themselves, rent them out, you know. And then eventually, when I'm ready to retire and stop doing too much and my kids could take over the properties, I get a big-ass house for me and my wife to relax in. Not too big so we don't got to hire people to clean it, but, you know, a nice thing for me to just say this is mine and you guys can have that. That's my objective. But with these corporations buying up all of the properties, especially the rental properties, it's making it harder for that dream for the regular man. Like, I don't want a single family home. I'm going to buy a 3-family for however big. I want a small building, if possible. FHA, I'll live in it for a little bit, for a year, and then move on to the next one. You know what I'm saying? Never use your wife to co-sign, because this way she gets her FHA and you get your FHA. You don't want to share the FHA. First property in my name, second property in her name, you know, put the 3% down. Shit like that. Listen, I know what I'm doing. Got a plan. I got, you know, the means. I'm working on what I'm working on. Shout out to Yam Sam, man. What's up? How you doing? I'm working on the things I'm working on. You feel me? But it's everybody needs to have their own plan and pay attention to what's going on in the world, you know? If you like stocks and investments, you need to pay attention to what's happening in the world. That's how you know which stocks to invest in. Like, there was a couple years ago, I made a whole lot of money off of NVIDIA. And the only reason why I invested in NVIDIA is because I'm watching the news. I seen the chip companies get $50 billion from the government. So I'm realizing that if they get $50 billion from the government, that means they could buy more material. That means they could make more chips and stuff. And that means they could sell more chips and stuff. And that is only going to increase their revenue. And that affects the shareholders. So I invested that way. You understand what I'm saying? And it's just, you got to know. You just got to pay attention to what's going on in the world, man. I'm paying attention to what's going on in the world. You know, it's a lot more going on in the world than people arguing on YouTube. This is why I had to step away, because I got things going on, you know, and it's hard to get personal with my people when you got these things happening. You know what I'm saying? So I forego that so I could be here and become more personal with my people. Like I said, once I reach 1,000 subscribers on this channel, the camera goes on. Got the camera already. Everything's already set up. I'm already set up. Got my little green screen shit. So I got a little green screen that's connected to my chair. So this is a nice little situation. You feel me? So I've got everything set up. I'm just waiting to get to where I'm trying to get to, you know? So there's nothing new with the mayor. I ain't gonna lie. I was hoping one of those I was hoping, so I did a video on Fresh and Fit, right? Yo, these red pill people make me sick. I swear. You know, listen. If you can't see it, I can't see it. Just know that all the hate in my comments is not necessary. Because I don't care what y'all think. You feel me? I put the video out. It's no lies in the video. Deal with it. You guys will be all right. So there's nothing new on these guys. I mean, they're talking about Trump and stuff like that, but there's no new drama. You know what I mean? Other than losing channels and stuff like that, there's nothing new really. Other than everything I covered before, there's nothing new. I have to look into that West Nile situation, the new West Nile. There's a new West Nile. It's a new West Nile, y'all. That's crazy. I'm gonna drop the link again. If there's anything anybody wants to talk about, we could engage in that. I have about 30 minutes left before I have to go take a nap. I have about 30 minutes left. It's an open panel. Is there anything that anyone wants to address? News-wise, anything else? I'm not having any other conversations here. There's a good possibility I could go live later. I'm definitely going live tomorrow. I'm gonna try to put a whole lot more content on this channel, a lot more live content, but I also have a upload coming later. What is it about? Is it about Dirk? I think I have an upload on the Dirk situation coming later. What the hell is KW? Kanye West? Don't pay me no mind, y'all. Have a great day, Distracting One. Shout out to Distracting One. Yes, most definitely. So I'm not going to take up too much of you guys' time. I just wanted to get into these topics, and I really wanted to talk about this Second Amendment thing in New York. That case is a crazy case because, no, not that Wednesday. It's just going to be a regular live like one of these. It's not going to be, you know. It's going to be a regular live, Dad. One of these lives. One of these boring-ass lives, Dad. One of these boring-ass informative lives. It's not going to be a Woolwich Wednesday. Toodles. Shout out to Arabia Barbosa. What's second, Arabia? Shout out to Arabia. What's up, Arabia?
Hey, what's up, RollingRich? Yeah, RollingRich, what's going on with the mayor?
So he got indicted by the feds for taking money from Turkish nationals.
Turkish nationals.
Yeah, so politicians are not allowed to take contributions for their campaign from people from outside the country. So the contributions would have to come from like American companies, American people in America. He was found taking money from outside the country.
Damn.
And that's illegal. And they got
So
proof.
you don't know anything about Ed Koch? You don't remember him?
No, I was young. I was too young for Ed Koch. I know about him because I've read about him. I've read some things about him.
That man was so corrupt. I liked Mayor Dinkins. And Giuliani, I never liked him. Never trusted him. He destroyed New York. They got rid of certain places in New York. You can't even find certain places because of his ass. Oh Lord.
Yeah, he made it real hard for people to feel comfortable walking around the city.
Him and what the other dude that was mayor. He was a real rich dude. I'm trying to remember his name because he was the one that wanted to do the stop and frisk bullshit in New York. I think I got caught up a few years ago in one of them sweeps, and I was living in Yonkers though, and the police in Yonkers was doing it. It was like if anything had something to do with a gun or gunshots, if you was caught in the area, they'd stop and frisk everyone. Yeah, man, New York is definitely changing.
Let me see. You said, was he before Giuliani? You talking about Bill de Blasio?
I'm talking about, it was this dude, he was the mayor, Oh, Bloomberg.
Yeah, so
Bloomberg.
all right, so,
remember Bloomberg?
Yes, I remember Bloomberg. Yeah, Bloomberg was right after Giuliani. He was terrible. Bloomberg.
Oh yeah, both of them dudes couldn't stand.
And De Blasio was a fool too. They used to call him the blasted asshole.
Mm-hmm.
De Blasio was terrible.
Yeah.
So Koch was the mayor from 78 to 89. So I was alive,
right?
But I was a baby when he was mayor. So I don't really remember him. I don't really remember Dinkins as much because I was still a child, but I remember Giuliani, Bloomberg, de Blasio, and Adams. These are, I'm older now. Now I'm paying attention. You know what I'm saying? So Dinkins came, Giuliani came in 94. You know what I mean? So I'm about 9 or 8 years old at this time. You know what I'm saying? So I'm aware. Yeah, I'm hearing the names. I'm seeing them on the news and stuff. So that's how I know from him go down, from Giuliani go forward. I know those mayors. Like I've actually been alive and present in their during their time as mayor.
And I also heard that the subway system in New York is run down. They haven't done any repairs, so when it rains, those places get flooded out.
All right,
and it's just a whole lot of changes.
So that happened. We had some really bad rain once. I got pictures of it. I had put up where the buses were even flooded. Right, so they had flooding in the subways a couple times, but it's not a regular occurrence whenever it rains. My problem with the subway system is at 10, 12 o'clock every night, the trains start running all kinds of freaky, like crazy. Like you get one train every 20, 30 minutes. Like it's crazy, right? Because they're supposed to be working on it. Every day they're working on the tracks. You feel me? Every day. I got friends that work for the MTA that are track workers. I have my track safety certification, right? Because I used to work for Amtrak. So they're working consistently because you have to keep upkeep on these things. Because electricity produces heat, and heat deteriorates plastic and all these different things that hold these things together. So they're working on these things every day. The train, the system is the system. It's the same exact system they had from whenever they created that shit. But I mean, it's better, but it's like, how much better is it gonna be? It's this NYC subway. You got crackheads sleeping wherever they want. The trains cars be stinking. Like police are more focused on you paying to get on the train than people sleeping on the train and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy. It's terrible because of the people. That's why I have a car. My wife has a car because I don't like my children and my wife on public transportation.
Yeah, the homeless population is just out of control, man. I don't mean no harm, but they do need to do something about them. They need to do something about them because they're becoming a public nuisance. I mean, I used to be homeless too, but we used to always stay out of the way, man. Just stay out the fucking way. When it's time for you to get an apartment or a house, do that, and just do your job and go home. You know what I mean? There's so many of my friends. I thought they found apartments and shit. These niggas are back out here on the fucking streets, man. I just look at them, shake my head, and keep it moving. You know what I mean? I don't even speak to them no more. I don't say hello. I don't say nothing.
Yeah, well, see, it's just rough, and I understand to a certain extent. It's rough, But my whole thing is like I give, I try to help them when I see them. But my whole thing is, if you're not presentable, if you're not trying to like clean yourself up a little bit, I don't know how much I'm trying to help you. You feel me? Like if I get on the train and I can smell you and you on the other side of the train car, that's crazy. You can't ask me for $1. I wouldn't give you $1 because you're not going to spend it on soap. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's the inconvenience. Where are the cops when these people are smelling up the whole train car? But if I hop over the turnstile and evade that 275, you on me.
Mm-hmm. Damn, it costs $275 to get on the subway now?
Yep.
Shoot.
It might be $3.
I remember when I remember when the Metro cards was like $180 for a monthly one. Now, how much is it now?
For a monthly, let me check. See, I have no idea. I've been driving for a while.
Because I'm supposed to be going back up there for a visit.
You're not gonna buy a monthly Metro card though.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, because you're not gonna be staying here for a month.
No, I'm not gonna be nowhere for a month.
A 30-day unlimited ride Metro card is $132.
Oh, it was 180 back in my. What was it back in my day?
It couldn't have been 180.
It was a good amount. I want to say 180.
When was this?
Tell
me the year. Tell me the year, and I'll find out how much it cost. What year were you talking about?
The last time I was up there was 2014. Check and see what it was. It might have been less than that.
$127.
Okay. Well,
it says in 2014, a monthly Metro card costs $127, a 30-day unlimited. Yeah, so it didn't go up much for the monthly, but the individual ride, shit.
So they still, what's the day one? Like if you have one for a day or a week? Maybe I should look it up myself.
I can tell you right now.
I tell you, man. New York has changed, man.
A fun pass?
Got too many people, rich people up there. People not even from New York, living in New York, moving out all the black people, all the Spanish people. It's ridiculous.
All right, so look, I got it right here for you. A 1 day is $750 for the whole day. You get unlimited ride for the whole day. 7 day is $34. The 30 day is $132.
Okay, that's not bad at all. It used to be 27. A weekly Metro. I don't know. Well, you said it's 30 something now, and I know how much the cigarettes are, especially in the city. When you go to Yonkers or Mount Vernon or someplace like that, White Plains, the cigarettes are a little cheaper. So I don't know. But thanks for having me up, RollingRich. Shout out to the chat. Y'all have an awesome day.
Thank you for coming up and having a conversation with me, Arabia.
Oh, no doubt. My pleasure.
It's not a problem. Shout out to WabbitTube Network, Uncle L. Is there anybody else that wants to have any other conversation? Let's talk about it. That's what I'm here for. I'm about to get up out of here in about 15 minutes. Got to get some rest. But we will definitely be back tomorrow. I will definitely be checking in and keeping tabs to see if there's any new developments on what's going on with the mayor. I will definitely be checking on his appeal. This guy's appeal to make sure that to see what's going on with that, and also the Supreme Court case with the for the firearms. If there's any new fresh and fit business, I'll get into that. I have an upload coming out later about the Little Dirk situation. And I also have another upload that I'm working on. It'll probably be like, 50% clips, 50% AI, doing the narrative. Doing the narrative for the video I'm dropping later. But yeah, that's about it. We had a great live. I appreciate everybody for coming. Did I drop the link? Yes, I did. If there's anything anybody wants to talk about. Yes, we had some terrible mayors out here. Shout out to Just Jay in the Vertical, Star, Thad Tias, Uncle L, Mrs. Baker, Miss Eve, Lester the YouTube God. Good morning to everybody, man. I hope you guys have a great day. Is who still locked up, Thad Tias? The guy in New York that got caught with the guns? Because the mayor didn't get locked up. He was just indicted. It's different when you're like a political figure and stuff like that. They don't just lock you up. He is not on bail or anything. The mayor just got indicted. That's all. It's a little crazy to me, but that's what happened. If it was me doing whatever it was, I'd be in jail. But it wasn't me. It was the mayor. So he's still free, running around, Yes, Dirk is still locked up. Dirk hasn't made bond yet. Let me check, see, to make sure. What the hell? I asked Google the wrong question. Oh shit. All right, so let me watch this little 45-second video. It says Little Dirk is not getting out on bail.
Prison yet again, being to rapper Lil Durk.
Hold on, this is a lawyer speaking on the case. I'm gonna get into this real fast before we get up out of here. This one, big it up. Let's see what he has to say about this bail situation. So he's locked up right now, and he's gonna explain why he isn't gonna get bail. So he has murder for hire, right? Murder for hire. Whenever you have a charge that involves you spending money, the judge is usually skeptical about letting you get out. Because that means you have the money to get out. So a lot of the time they wouldn't even give you a really high bond because they know you're going to make it. They'll just give you no bail. You know what I mean? Like, that's why Young Thug was in prison all this time. Because if he had a bond, he would have been free. You know what I'm saying? But he didn't have a bond.
So rapper Lil Durk could potentially be spending the rest of his life in prison. Yet again, being a rapper proves to be one of the most dangerous professions in America. The situation surrounding Lil Durk, is no exception. He finds himself in custody now. He's not going to get bail. Why is he not going to get bail?
Yeah, so he's in custody. Let me see something. This was 3 days ago.
Are facing criminal charges, the judge is going to make a decision on bail. The two primary things that the judge is looking at when they're deciding bail are you going to be a flight risk, and are you going to be a danger to the community? Will you be a danger to the alleged victims? Will you be a danger to any potential witnesses? Lil Durk, in this case, just has strikes on all of those.
Small P has nothing to do.
So you heard his reason for not getting a bail? Is because he has he fits the criteria of someone that will be a danger to society. You feel me? He has the money to leave, he has the means to get the hell up out of here. He paid someone to smoke someone, so that means the person that was supposed to get hit didn't get hit, but somebody got hit, and the person that didn't get hit is liable to be a target again. So it's a lot of different things going on. Listen, if Young Thug could beat his case, Lil Durk could beat his, man. So I'm just saying, it's so Sis talks about this on his on the Wabbit Crime Network, right? It's about to be a battle now. Now there's gonna be a battle between a DA and a defense attorney. You feel me? And may the best man win. Listen, all the evidence in the world didn't help with that Young Thug situation. You know what I'm saying? So, and they had good evidence. You feel me? Because, like, even with YF and Lucci, right? YF, like, all of these guys are using their business, their legal business, to rent and purchase things for illegal activities, man. It's not smart, bro. It's not smart. Listen, I rapped. I used to rap. You feel me? Like, this shit could change your whole generation's life. Listen, every generation after you could be good if you just do the right thing, man. Good evidence, sloppy legal team. Shout out to Courtney Peach. If you just do the right thing, right? Take your people away from the bull. You know what I mean? Why pay these guys, if you did, allegedly? Why pay anybody to do anything to anybody? You know what I mean? Like you've made it, bro. You've made it. You've gotten out of the hood. You've escaped, bro, the trenches. Why pay the young guys to continue the stuff that you were doing when you were out there? Hip-hop ain't going nowhere because they love it. People love it. White people love it. Black people love it. Chinese, Asian, everybody loves hip-hop. We set the trends. Hip-hop sets the trends. Ain't nobody following no damn rock stars, man. Hey, let me tell you something. After Lil Wayne picked up a skateboard, it's the most I ever seen people skateboard. When rappers was wearing big ass jeans, you know how much people I've seen with they right pant leg fold up like LL or left, whichever pant leg he used to fold. I'm just saying, you know. Hip hop isn't going anywhere. What needs to happen is better hip hop needs to be made. Better music needs to be made. That's what needs to happen. You know, like, I listen to this guy. His name is Gifted Hands. There's good hip-hop music out there. He's a Christian rapper. Like my friend Relly, he's a Christian rapper. D1, he's a Christian rapper. Like, even if you don't listen to Christian rappers, if you listen to J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar, they might talk about doing things or things that they've done in the past, but they're not encouraging the youth to go do it. It's a difference, you know? It's just a difference, you know what I mean? It's a difference in the music. You know, I like the drill music, you know. I listen to it. The beats are infectious. They got good tempo, you know what I mean? But that is, how you forget that, man? LL Cool J had everybody with their pant leg up, even in the wintertime. J. Cole is definitely fire. You feel me? He's definitely not making music that's encouraging the youth to go out there and do ignorant stuff. You know what I mean? And this is the problem. I got 5 more minutes. This is the problem, right? Is that they glorify it and then they're rich. They're glorifying all of these negative things, and then the person that's saying all these things are rich. Come on. Star, listen to a song called My Heart Instead by Gifted Hands. And tell me, whenever you see me in another chat, tell me what you think about it. So there's consequences to all of the things that these people are doing. But they're not stating that. They're glorifying. So now, as a young man, I'm listening to your music, talk about all of the crazy things that you're doing, and you're rich. So as a young man, I'm thinking I could do all of this shit that he's saying, and I could end up like that. Jay Electronica made you stop rapping? That's crazy. That's a crazy one. Jay Electronica is an animal, though. He gets busy. He's a penman, man. He's one of those guys that'll whip you with the pen. Very talented, Jay Electronica, man. I met him remember Beat Street? There used to be a record store downtown Brooklyn called Beat Street. They sell cassettes and CDs and shit like that. A lot of artists used to just be over there, man. I met Jay Electronica. Like, Jay Electronica wasn't as big. So a lot of the underground guys you would see there a lot. You know what I mean? Like, not underground, but not the mainstream artists. You know what I mean? I've never seen LL Cool J there. I'm going to check that out. I'm definitely going to check that out. And when I see you, was everything you wanted to rap like? That's understandable. Like, I didn't have an artist I wanted to rap like, but my rap style is influenced by a lot of artists. Hey, yo, the pen is still nice, This is the thing, right? Like, how long is he supposed to stay broke? Because he was really gifted. And some people are really gifted and never get theirs. Like, look at Cannabis. Cannabis was never really able to get his. And he was really talented. I'm just saying. Well, my time is up. You wanted to rap like Nas? Hey, I ain't gonna lie, man. You know who has a style that's hard to grasp? Tupac. Tupac is my favorite artist for some reason. And it's because he went in all of these different pockets. You know, so like I'm a big fan of being able to go into different areas, and you know what I'm saying? Nas is like that also, but Pac had this unorthodox style with the yelling and shit. Like, it was just different, you know what I mean? And a lot of other people have tried to mimic that shit, but that shit ain't easy to mimic, man. That shit different, man. Like, I really like Pac, man. Changes is one of my favorite songs ever. That's just the way it is. Things will never be the same. Yo, that right there, man. You know what's crazy? Changes. So during Black History Month, I performed Changes in my in my elementary school, I think, or junior high school, at a Black History Month show. I just had to take out the cursings. At first, they wouldn't let me. I was like, why not? Like Tupac is as much Black history as anybody. Like, I had to fight for it, man. Like, I'm just saying, man. Like I said, I'm gonna get more personal here these days, so that there'd be more understanding of who I am with the content. And this way you understand why I'm covering the content that I'm covering. I would like to say shout out to the chat, shout out to the Cash App, shout out to the Super Chat, shout out to the memberships, shout out to everybody that's supporting me. I really appreciate you guys. If you have not, please slide to the vertical and double tap. Get that out there to the people so they can see this. Maybe something I said needs to be heard. Shout out to Tesh Aziz. For being a member for 5 months. Live life to the fullest. Blessings, Tesh. Let me see what we got here. Yes, he was. You know what I'm saying? And it showed in his music, you know what I mean? It showed in his music because he was able to not just rap about whatever he was going through. He was able to, like, come outside himself. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the John Show. What's going on, man? How you doing, brother? Man, shout out to everybody that pulled up, man. I really appreciate you guys. I'm about to get going. I got some things to take care of. I really appreciate you guys. Let me see if I got something for us to leave to here. Shout out to Uncle L for being a member for 5 months. Oh, everybody hit their 5-month mark, huh? I really appreciate you guys, man, for staying with me while I was trying to build up this other channel. But hey, I'm back. We're going to make this work. We're going to work this thing on out. We're going to get this content. I'm going to try to put this news together for everybody. Let me see if I got something for us to leave to that does not apply to those people. Not really. I don't have anything. So what I'm going to do is, yes, I'll be going live on Wednesday, but not RollingRich Wednesday. It's going to be a regular informative live. It's going to be another one of these boring lives right here, highly favored. It's not going to be RollingRich Wednesday. I'm not covering anything in that sector anymore. Shout out to the chat, though. I really appreciate everybody for pulling up. And I'll be back. Dad TSC. Let me wait. Let me just wait for everybody to put day one. Shout out to Thad Tears. 5 months. Hey, everybody gonna get a notification that they've been a member for 5 months. That's a member. So could you guys please, hey yo, WabbitTube Network, if you're looking at this video, is there any way you could tell me how I could send a link to Highly Favored so she could become a member? because I don't know how to do it. I've clicked on the membership thing, and it's not giving me an option to share it. Boring is the new entertainment. Hey, if you guys like it, I'm gonna be here with it. LTP, I'm gonna have it for you guys if y'all want it. I'm like a hustler. You feel me? You know what I mean? I'm gonna have it if you guys want it. I have the website link. Which website link? The YouTube link? Hold on, let me see something. Hold on. All right. Courtney Peach is gonna send it to you, highly favored. Oh, shout out to Letitia Third Eye POV. It's right there. Highly favored. This message right here. Oh, you can't even see it. This message. Who the hell is texting me? This message right here, highly favored, that Letitia put up is the membership, John. Thank you very much, highly favored. I mean, Letitia. And highly favored. You guys know what you're doing. I don't even know what I'm doing. As far as that goes, you know, I'm new to this monetization stuff. She said it doesn't work. We'll get it to you. Oh, because she said you need to do it from your web browser. We gonna figure this out. She said that's not it. We gonna figure this out, you guys. We will definitely figure this out. I'm gonna be removing some of these stickers. They're gonna change. But shout out to the chat, man. I really appreciate you guys. Letitia, highly favored Courtney Peach is going to get with you and make sure that we figure this out. I don't have anything for us to leave to, so I'm going to just do the intro thing to go out. I'm going to put my outro together today. Shout out to Courtney Peach. She'll take care of that for you, highly favored.
This new thing called classism. This is what we do to hold people back. Everybody says who does he think he is? I just told you who I thought I was. Oh my God. So you made that?
Viewer discretion is advised.